Good evening and welcome yet again to this live special broadcast from the Tribune Network. We're discussing the third test match between India and England and what to say. The match has ended. Can you believe it? In a day and a session. I mean, after lunch on the second day, the match has ended. But great news for Indian fans. India has won by 10 wickets, defeating Australia, I beg your pardon, England in this third test match. India go 2-1 up. I'm joined by my sports editor, Rohit Mahajan. Rohit,
Right.
many would say this track was a minefield. Do you agree, or you still believe this was a decent track and the batsman actually failed?
Yeah, I think there were several factors which worked in the match ending within 2 days. Um, Nobody wants to watch a test match end in six sessions within 2 days. I think it's very unfortunate that this happened. Even though we won, India won, and we have to congratulate the Indian team for winning by 10 wickets in this game, in which it seemed that the margin was so very small that even 50 runs may not be very easy to chase. Um, Despite all that, we have to admit that this was probably not ideal test match wicket, especially. But one also has to look at the fact that probably the batsmen from both teams, especially the English team, they were not really skillful enough to tackle spin on this bowling. It was a very tricky wicket. Um, and the real challenge was that sometimes the ball would spin from exactly similar ball would spin and exactly the same sort of ball would not spin at all. So a lot of batsmen uh, were dismissed LBW playing down the wrong line. They and sometimes they were playing for turn and they didn't turn. Sometimes they were playing for turn and the ball didn't turn. So vice versa. So it was a challenging wicket, and it exposed the weaknesses of the Indian as well as the English batsmen, especially the English batsmen. And India were, I think, very fortunate that England misread the pitch. Traditionally, a ping ball test match helps seam bowlers, so they bolstered their seam bowling attack. They had uh, four seam bowlers, and which helped India. Um, Even though we got India got a very small wicket, small lead, but four seam bowlers were not really ideal for this wicket. That seems to be the case in retrospect, which means that the conditions were difficult to read as well before the match for the captain and the team management as well. For England, they picked up a seam heavy bowling attack, and they said they were so very excited to get the balls or their hands on the ping ball and get going. And they used the second spinner, Joe Root, after I think about 40 odd overs had been bowled, and then he ran away with so many 5 wickets, and he rattled the Indian low order. So overall, I would say that it was not an ideal test wicket. It was dry generally for ping ball tests, so that the ball doesn't scuff up too much and it remains visible under the lights. There has to be some grass on it. There was no grass on this wicket. It was dry. And the ping ball, one other factor I think which is very important, the ping ball has heavier lacquer, thicker lacquer. And if the wetter side of the ball uh, is is uh, is where it pitches, where which it touches the surface, it slides. So
Right.
the ball was sliding a lot. So all those factors made it extremely difficult for batsmen to bat on. And even if you look at the dismissal of Leach, I think he bowled, he got a few wickets with straighter deliveries. So overall, I would say it was a wicket which was probably not ideal for Test cricket, but at the same time, I think the skills of batsmen against top class spin on difficult tracks is diminishing. English batsmen, for instance, they hardly get to play any top class spin bowling in their own summer. it's likely to spin, when the pitches could help spin. There are very few matches, first class matches during that time. So overall, I think there was three, four, five factors which worked against the bowlers, and the match ended in 2 days. I would be very interested to see what the match referee has to say about this wicket.
That's right. I was in fact coming to that, Rohit. Is there a chance, though we haven't really heard about it, England, maybe some sort of an appeal against this the sort of track, or approaching the referee, match referee, for having this kind of a track where the match ended within six sessions, or do you think they're going to accept this?
Uh, the match referee generally in this kind of results, where the match has ended in such a short duration, it's incumbent on the match referee to actually make a report about this to the ICC, and we will, in due course of time, we'll figure out what the report is. Um, and unfortunately, in these times of COVID, uh, neutral match referees are not really possible because of travel restrictions. Ideally, a neutral match referee from a neutral country would have been officiating in this match, and of course, the umpires as well. That didn't happen in this match. That hasn't been happening due to the COVID restrictions. Um, so let's see what the match referee says, and we'll get to know that in due course of time.
And also, Rohit, notwithstanding the controversy over the this status of the track, a huge performance by Ashwin, second, I think, fastest 400 wicket taker bowler in the world. I mean, he is a class bowler.
Exactly. Exactly. And to do it better in a fewer tests than people like um, Richard Headley, Kapil Dev, of course, was much slower. Shane Warne, Anil Kumble, Harbhajan Singh. I think it's a great achievement, and um, he's a champion bowler. Uh, and the fact is that now he's maturing as a spinner. He's probably at an age where spinners are at their best, at their wiliest, at their most experienced. And I think it's going to get only more and more dangerous with time.
Also, talking about the home lad, Axar Patel, 11 wickets in this match, and he bowled superbly well. What made his bowling different? I mean, taking 11 wickets, even English bowlers were bowling on this track. But as far as Akshar is concerned, what went right for him?
There are a couple of things which worked very well for him, and they worked for him in the previous test as well. One, he bowls at a quick pace,
Right.
and he's very accurate.
Mm.
I think these two factors are very important. Then there were the variations of the pitch, which were either deliberate, what he was trying to do, bowling straighter deliveries or turning some deliveries. And then, of course, there were natural variations of the pitch,
Right.
which no one could predict, which even he would know that where would this ball go, whether this would turn or whether this would go straight. So when even the bowler is not sure about what's going to happen with the next delivery, it's impossible for the batsman to figure that out. So he got he 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 got this 10 wicket haul in only his second test. He had got a big haul in the first test as well. So he's making the most of the conditions that he's getting, and good luck to him. He made his test debut. He's played for India a long time ago in white ball cricket, but uh, he's played a lot of first class cricket. So he knows he's bowled a lot of overs in first class cricket. So he knows how to bowl on this kind of wickets, and he bowled beautifully. And I think we need to again emphasize that the ping ball was a huge factor. Uh, it slides, it's heavier lacquer, and it slides. So it makes it very difficult for the batsman.
Okay, and also given the fact that this match ended within six sessions, not much to talk about in terms of batting. But despite that, especially Rahul, I beg your pardon, Rohit Sharma. scoring 60 odd runs, crucial runs in the first inning. In the second inning, again chipping in with the 20 odd runs. Perhaps he showed the way to other batsmen. This is how you bat on this track, or rather an impossible track. But then he batted quite well.
He batted well. As we discussed earlier, I think the selection of four fast bowlers, three premier fast bowlers, and a fast bowling all rounder, Ben Stokes. I think that worked in India's favor and Rohit Sharma's favor, and that allowed him to score at a faster rate and to get away with scoring. And India were 99 for 3, I think, yesterday.
Yeah.
So and after that, Joe Root belatedly he figured out that he probably needs to bowl a bit more, bowl himself rather than bowling the pace bowlers, and I think that helped India. That he figured out a little later that, I mean, he was trying to back his own decision of going with four pacers, and so he had no other choice. But then he probably figured out that, well, you need to bowl spin from both ends and regularly, and that's when the Indian lower order also collapsed against him, against spin. So, but you have to give credit to Rohit. When runs are scored, when runs are at a premium, and to score runs and score so important runs, I think that's a match with winning performance right there. Just like Zach Krule, he got most of his runs when the Pacers were bowling, and that made him also confident, and he lasted. And these are the two guys who scored half centuries in the match. Um, so he also benefited from the fact that he batted mostly against pace bowlers, and by the time the spinners bowled regularly from both ends, things became really more difficult.
Okay, and also Rohit, talking about the fourth Test match. I mean, there's going to be a different track, I assume. It's going to be the traditional ball, Test match ball. Also, the track is going to be different. But any idea about how the fourth Test match track is going to play out?
It's anybody's guess. There's a series of pitches, different kind of pitches, in the middle of a ground, in every ground. In this particular ground, it seems that pitches soils from different parts of different grounds have different regions have been brought in, so that the nature of the wicket can be changed by going from one wicket to the other. It could be made a pace bowling attack wicket, or a spin friendly wicket. So, but we can now expect that it's going to be a spin friendly wicket for uh, I think India, and maybe we generally should. I mean, I've traveled abroad several times in places like Australia or New Zealand or England, and they always give tracks which help their own bowlers. But there's no discussion in the media about that. All that is done in a very hush hush manner, but it is done. In India, for some reason, it becomes huge public debate, probably because uh, probably because the matches are ending in 2 days, which is natural that people will discuss what sort of wickets are the Indians demanding. I remember there was a press conference with Virat Kohli a few years ago, and it was the series against against South Africa, and the wickets were turning square from day one. And somebody asked Kohli that you guys are not scoring runs, or that you guys are scoring ugly runs, that you are finding it difficult to survive. Are you okay with that as a batsman, that you find it difficult to survive and difficult to score runs? Kohli, first he said that, well, I don't think that we are playing ugly, we are surviving ugly. But he said that, okay, I think it's okay. If the team wins, we are willing to compromise with our scores, with our averages. Um, I think in this series, generally in every Indian series, spinners will be on top. I mean, that's given. In this series, probably the stakes were high, higher than ever before, because of place in the World Test Championship final up for grabs. So, and after India lost the first test, um, I mean, we were going to get spinning wickets. There was no way that they were going to. It was a very flat first test wicket.
Right.
That's also not really ideal, but England got the result they wanted, and after that result, after being 0-1 down, the Indian board was not going to give them a wicket which would not
Good.
turn square from day one.
Right. Also, I think in the context of World Test Championship, Rohit, where do we stand now? I mean, are we through to the finals, or still the outcome of the last Test match is important?
Yeah, it is. It is important. We need to win either 2-1 or 3-1.
Okay.
A 2-all draw. If we lose the next match and the series ends in a 2-all draw, then both India and England would be out,
Okay.
and Australia will
Australian
have a
news
chance of sneaking
qualifying. Okay.
into the final.
Right.
So India needs to make sure that they don't lose the next match,
Right.
even if they don't win it.
Right.
They need to make sure that they at least draw it. Draw on such wickets is extremely unlikely. England, I hope that the next match would be much more competitive and much more exciting. This match, I mean, for the partisans, for the nationalists, you can't say that India won. Let's celebrate. Okay, I also celebrate, but I would be happier to see a more engaging contest in which even the pacers come into play, even all the batsmen come into play, and it's not just that you have spin from both ends right from the first over, and that's it. That's not really ideal for cricket, and that's really not ideal for the future of Test cricket.
Well, thank you so much, Rohit. We would have expected that you would provide those insights for the next 5 days. Despite being unwell, you took out time to discuss. But fortunately or unfortunately, the match has ended within 2 days. So you will get adequate rest for the next 3 days. I won't be bothering you. But clearly, as you mentioned, India expecting, at least the fans will expect a more engaging track fourth Test match, unlike this Test match where it ended in well under 2 days. So we're hoping that at least the fourth Test match turns out to be more competitive. But as far as India is concerned, they would be happy with the outcome. They are now leading the series 2-1. They just, as Rohit mentioned, they either need to draw out the last Test match or win to qualify for the finals of the World Test Championship and take on New Zealand. That's all we have for you on the special broadcast. You can get more updates on cricket updates on our website tribuneindia.com, and also follow us on our social media platforms like Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook for more cricket updates. Meanwhile, thanks for watching.